Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Vallen, and this is Witchery. We're making lots and lots of brews. We're covering level 2, and we're not doing all of the level 2 brews today. We're doing the last half, which is a considerable amount. You'll want to choose an item that may show up here. Just ignore the witch behind me. She has nothing to do with this. Or you could just let this play and it will go on by itself. If you don't have annotations on, well, you're lost for being able to have selection. But anyway, let's get into this because I've got a lot of brews to cover today. So you're probably asking yourself, why is Vallen wearing this strange outfit? Well, there are certain brews that are going to be showcasing that outfit and why I'm wearing it. It's not a specific outfit, it's the armor. But before we get into that, let's start getting into some of this really, really cool stuff because we're covering all these brews today. There are so many brews we're covering. First and foremost, Bat Burst. That's right, Bat Burst, which is made with a concentrated bat ball. How do you make these? Well, they're a little bit tricky. You got to catch 4 bats in 4 critter snares with some slime balls. So that this potion or brew is rather confusing. It's like, well, why would I want a concentrated bat ball? Well, that's what I'm going to get into. So to start with, this one here, there's no difference in power, no difference in area of effect. Basically, you can make a very low level one and get the same bonus. All the cost is in the bat ball, or concentrated bat ball, that you're going to be making, which I just showed. Now, in this case, I'm going to grab one of these, which is just a low level one, and then I'm going to grab a gas one as well, because it works fantastic as a gas brew. And I will show you why. Actually, let me grab some fresh ones. There we go. All right, so I have the little container area over here that is set up, and this is just some extra utilities, ineffable glass. I can walk through it, but if I hold shift, it becomes solid and impassable, but otherwise mobs and such will not pass through. So if I toss down a splash brew of Bat Burst, you'll see it will have a whole bunch of bats launch from it. On average, you'll get around maybe 12, maybe as much as 15 bats in one of these potions. And it can be useful because, you know, you only caught 4 bats in order to make this, plus, you know, other ingredients to make said potion or brew. But what we're going to want to do is use this gas brew. Now, it doesn't have to be a high level either, but I do recommend that you use a higher level, if you can, effects to make the gas brew last longer and to cover a larger area so that you can take full advantage of it. So what you're going to want to do is do this in an enclosed space so that you can capture all the bats. The reason being is that one of the more challenging things to get is bat wool, which it's not in there, but wool of bat is probably what it is. Yes, wool of bat, as a drop from bats. Well, if you can catch 4 of them in critter snares, then this is how you mass produce it, and you can make many, many more. Now, I'm going to throw down this here, and of course it creates the gas cloud, which this is a pretty big one. But let me show you what happens when I walk in. It will constantly keep making more bats and more bats. Every few seconds I am being affected by this, and then another like 7 to 10 bats are made every single time this happens. So it is effectively making inordinate amounts of bats so that you can get all the wool of bat that you ever will want or need. Yeah, that's right. That's just pretty darn crazy there. I mean, look at it's still on the field. Look at all the bats. It's ridiculous. It's a lot of fun though. Yeah, I will admit. So this has a really good use, the Bat Burst brew, for getting you wool of bat. That's right. It's very good. Very, very good. I highly recommend you make the gas brew version. Now, let's get on to the next one here. Air hike. This one here is a little bit lackluster, but the more power, the more height. So I'm just going to grab a couple of these ones here, and you can even do a gas brew and kind of mess around with it. I've got some volunteers over here. Let me toss here, and you'll see this is a low level. Doesn't do much. It just kind of makes him jump up a little bit. No big deal. Well, let's toss a high level one. You can see it affects him, and I was close enough to the larger splash area that I got affected as well. But you can see, you know, it will toss entities into the air, maybe like about 10 blocks or so. And it can be entertaining. But if you use a gas brew, then it will also keep them in the air, because as they try landing on it, they will trampoline around. So this applies to you as well. So you can see I am just kind of bouncing on the gas cloud. But of course, I am prone to fall damage from this. It's not going to negate any fall damage. So it's quite a lot of fun, but it's not really that practical in my mind. So there you go. Now, next we have Pull. This one here, it was really depressing. Allow me to grab this and show you. Gas potions are a little bit weird as well. I have some cow spawning eggs here. I am going to just toss a few cows around, and here's a low level one here. And you can see it kind of pulls them together, which is the design of the spell. But when you get really into it, you can see that it kind of pulls them in a larger area, a little further, and so on. And if you toss in like this here, wait, what kind was that? Oh, that was not the one I was thinking of. But it's best for entities. I mean, for pulling entities around. If you use it on things like, well, grass blocks or whatever. Let me toss out a bunch of items here. Let's just toss out a bunch of these. And there we go. They're all in one spot, but let me toss this over here. It's a little bit far away for that. This is a very low level one. You can see this stuff's kind of jumping around a little bit. It doesn't really pull it to where it landed. That's the problem, is that this will just fling items around. So it's not that useful in my opinion as far as harvesting things. It's better used on players. So if I use this and it destroys a bunch of the blocks, and it has in here, I created a potion that has harvesting, felling, pruning, and the frog's tongue. So therefore it will actually grab the items and supposedly pull them all together. But it doesn't. It just kind of like flings them around. So it's not that effective as it states in the book as being useful for harvesting. Now, as far as entities go, well, it's not too bad, but you need to have a big splash area in order for that to work properly. All right, this next one here we have is extremely dangerous. This one is Erosion. So you'll need Oil of Vitriol on this one. On the previous ones, it was fairly obvious. I mean, with Air Hike, it was Breath of Goddess. But in this case, it's Oil of Vitriol, which it's not that easy to make. I mean, let's see, the recipe for this one here, you'd have to get foul fumes and quicklime, and you know, it's just a series of events to get that, but it's not that bad. It's low level stuff to get Erosion set up. Now, the more power, the more erosion. The more area is affected by your area of effect bonus here. So, and I'm going to grab a gas brew of Erosion as well. And according to the book here, let's see here. Effect causes blocks to melt, instantly destroying any except obsidian, which is merely broken. Now, I'm going to toss this over here. I'm going to actually toss it off-center a little bit. And you can see here it destroyed the dirt, but it just picked up the obsidian. So therefore you can harvest obsidian in this way. It's pretty handy. But you see it just destroyed the earth. And you can continue using this. And then here's a really big one here. And it only does one layer though, like one horizontal layer. It doesn't do in a big circle like a sphere or something like that, but it can be very destructive. I mean, you can just like create epic pits to death. Now, if you use like a gas brew, you're like, all right, well, why do you have a gas brew? It's not affecting anything. Yeah, well, watch this. You see, I have my armor on, right? Well, let's get out of game mode 1. And everything gets destroyed almost instantly. and then I start taking damage as well. Now this is high level erosion, so I'm taking more damage from it, and it also destroys armor even faster. But even low level erosion will destroy things and potentially damage at almost the same rate. Using the gas brew is really, really going to make it a PvP item, because it's not going to actually destroy any of the surrounding territory. It will also cause some damage. So there we go. I'll toss it on those guys, and you can see it's doing a little bit of damage on them. Not too much. Let's see if I can actually catch up to this cow. Yeah, you can see he's taken like a heart of damage each time that he gets hit by it. And now it is an armor melting machine. It will destroy it. I've tried a few different mods on this one. Any of the vanillas just gets ruined. Any of the witcheries gets ruined. Especially witcheries gets ruined in seconds. So if you have a valuable piece of armor or something, this is one way to really get somebody upset at you. I did test it out on some other mods. Not all of them, just a few. Something like Botania and the mana steals and the Terra steals and stuff. They lasted a few seconds longer because the mana was trying to repair the stuff. But yeah, they just went down in like an extra second. But there are armors that are immune to this, like Flux Infused, or the Draconic Evolution stuff isn't immune to it, actually, but it's barely touching it whatsoever. So this is not some great equalizer for Draconic Evolution like I thought it might be. But it is a definitely one that will really get some people upset if you just ruin their armor that they spent all day making. Yeah, so, but it can be really good though. Really good. Just watch how you use it. All right, next we have level land. Now you're thinking, all right, well, isn't that what erosion was doing? Not quite. Let's kind of grab a couple of these here. There we go. And you'll see the difference happen with how this works. Now, it will level the land. So I'll toss this out, and you'll see it took from one area that was high and filled in an area that was low. So what happens if I toss it down here? It will just clear out an area and destroy it as if it was erosion. But if I toss it here, like before, it will try and fill it in. But if there's nothing for it to pull from, you notice there it did nothing. It took a little bit over there, but if I toss here, it's gonna just try, and it's not quite as effective. I mean, it will make some blocks out of it, but it tends to get a little bit more expensive when you're doing it that way. So there you go. I just leveled that, but I could also toss this up here, trying to do so. It's not going to work, you know. So it will take from one area to give to another if possible. Though you can see it's a little bit broken with how it works. So it can be very useful though for clearing out areas. You can be like, well, I don't want this area here. I like this area down here. Well, then let's just kind of clear this out. And you don't need to worry about destroying the level that you hit this block on. Now, you can also use it underwater, but yeah, you can see it can be a bit crazy at times too. So then you're like, all right, well, let's fill this in. Nope, doesn't work so good on grass, works really good on dirt though. With level land, you don't have any increase in the power, so it's not worth bumping up the power level on this whatsoever. It will still destroy the same blocks, whether high-powered or low-powered. Same thing with obsidian. And the area of effect is what you want to do, so that you can make it either a small splash or a really big splash area. So, sorry for shaking the camera there, but hey. Next we have webs. Webs. This one here is a lot of fun, and it's especially fun as a gas brew, in my opinion. Now, higher power gives you more webs. Area of effect is just more area is affected by these webs. Now, to give an example, if I tossed out the very low level one, oh boy, I have a couple webs. No big deal, you know, but still, you're able to hit the enemy. Oh look, I caught myself in the splash area on that one. I was just close enough. So it's something to take into a consideration here. Now this one here is splash 4, web 4. Boom. You can see it's got a much greater effect on that. Now on top of that, you notice I didn't hit either of them. They were just in the splash area. Now if I toss on here a gas brew, sorry cow, anywhere that they wander into, myself included, will start getting webbed. And you can see it gets a bit crazy there as you start wandering through the gas brew. Oh, wow. Okay. There we go. But you can see it could be pretty crazy. And these are not just regular webs. These are dense webs. Here is a diamond sword with sharpness 5. And you can see that I am barely making any progress on this stuff. So the only chance people really have is to feasibly try and pass through the webs, which can be really, really painful. All right, next here we have Vines and Flammable. This one here is really, really interesting because it can be helpful. It can be hurtful. Hurtful? Whatever. Let me grab a couple of these. This one and this one. And yes, it even works as a gas potion, but more in a PvP way. Allow me to show how this works. So, splash brew of vines. You throw it on the side of a block. If you throw it on the top, nothing really happens. Throw it on the side, there you go, you get some vines. Now, if I have a much taller area here, now you saw that that one got covered completely with vines. This is the lowest level one. Nothing up there. Oops. There we go. You can see, whoops, I did vine on top of vine, but if I hit the side of this, it only covers the side of it. Now, the more power you add, there we go, the more vines will drop down from the block if it's not touching the bottom. So you can use this to actually create a dropping down ladder from a high surface, or you can throw it up to a surface so that you can better get up if you have a block up there next to it. There you go. Now, you probably noticed that I got some particle effects while I was in there. So let me splash this. And you'll see I am now vine wrapped. Now, what vine wrapped does is it makes you vulnerable to fire. Therefore, you are wrapped with vines. That's right. I am the Vine Master. Oh, this is really actually pretty creepy looking. But so what happens with this is you become very susceptible to fire. So if you create a gas potion, which will not create vines, it will just make things vine wrapped. If you have anything that you want to kill with fire, this is the way to go. Splash brews will help. Drinking potions, if you can get them to drink it, well, it'll be your target. But otherwise, gas brews, so that they are constantly being renewed with the vine wrapped enchantment debuff, and they will take a lot more damage from fire. So yeah, vampires beware of being vine wrapped. All right, and next we have Cactus and Thorned. It's actually not too far off from Vines and Flammable. Let me grab a couple of these. And this is really interesting. I mean, you could use it in gas brew in a similar way, but I doubt that you really want to, because then it won't be to your advantage. What you're going to want to probably do is make Cactus and Thorned into a drinking potion, if possible, or just a splash potion that you apply to yourself. So first and foremost, its main use is going to be in making cacti. That's right, cacti. Oh my gosh, 2 cacti next to each other? Impossible. Well, behind that we have Cactus Cow. That's right, Cactus Cow. And we have Captain Cactus. I look like some kind of professional wrestler here. But what happens with this is I am now spiky. And if I am near something like a cow, they instantly will start taking damage because I'm spiky. I'm not attacking. I'm not doing anything. I'm just near them. But you have to be careful because it works on your opponents as well. So if I get too close, then I would get spiked. But I'm in creative, so I am not taking any damage. Now, this is a really, really interesting spell. If you use just a low level one or versus a high level one, you'll see that the cacti also spawn higher when they splash on the ground. So you can also, on top of that, keep growing the cacti. Oops. Oh boy, I'm just going to grow cacti everywhere now. You can keep on growing the thing as high as you really want to. Just keep in mind that it still follows the same rules of destroy the bottom, you destroy it all. But it's pretty interesting. If you ever wanted to have cacti growing next to each other. It's pretty cool. You know, you could design things in ways that you want them to be if you so desire. There we go. Look at that work of art. It's beautiful. But you can also grow it on things that you never thought you could grow cactus on. Like netherrack, wooden planks. I don't know if it'll work on chests. Well, there's between chests. Yes, it works on chests, folks. So it kind of just plants it wherever you want it to be. So if you ever wanted to put a cactus on something, that's one way of doing it. The other thing is you get that spiky effect. So it's really, really cool. All right, next one here is sprouting. This one here requires an ent twig. That's right, an ent twig. This you get from an ent, which is harvested from different witchery trees on occasion. So let me grab a couple of these. And you'll see this one, it's not so good as a gas potion. You could use it as a gas potion if you really want to, but more power gets you more logs, and the area of effect just affects the area that it is, well, affecting. Let me show you. I toss one down on the ground. Sprout. It will shoot up a log of a random witchery tree. And it's pretty cool. On top of that, if you need to get someplace, you can launch yourself up there. And you can see now I am currently sprouting, which I will show you that in a moment. Now, on top of that, you can actually throw it on the side of blocks. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. And it will create, horizontal logs, which can be quite interesting as well. You know, you can create quick barriers, walls, whatever. But I guess it's not just witchery ones. There's oak and oak, even though it says birchwood. But you can see it has a lot of interesting stuff in there. Now, if I go with something a little bit stronger, let's toss this on myself. You can see I am now sprouting. In fact, oh, what happened? I didn't throw anything on the ground. Well, that's the whole idea of sprouting, is that you will, oh, hello cow. You will on occasion create things underneath your feet while you have that effect on you. So the gas brew is where that would really be beneficial. If you wanted to, you could actually create, even if you're floating in the air and flying, you will still create these sprouting branches underneath your feet. So it's quite interesting in that way. Just a little bit of Vallen's brew of cleaning to get this stuff out of here. There we go. Oh, there's one of those ents I was talking about earlier. Get out of here, you. Next up, we have Freeze. This is a pretty OP potion, if I do say so myself. Now, it may not seem like it, but how many mods do you know of that actually cause cold damage? Cold damage. You know, damage from cold. That's what this mod does. Now, this brew does. Now, level 1, it's just going to give a cold effect. For instance, let me hit myself with it here. There we go. And you can see I'm chilled for 1.5 minutes. It's pretty crazy like that. Now, let me grab some milk here. Yes, you can get rid of it just like you can wither or something like that. But it is an uncommon effect. Now, if I put this on myself, I'm chilled and oh look, he's taking damage. That's right, you will take damage from higher levels of chill. So the other thing is it lasts for a very long time with very little effort. You can lengthen this quite a bit and use it to your advantage. You can combine this with poison. You can combine this with wither. So this can be very, very dangerous. It also gives a slowing effect. So let me hit myself with it again. And you can see I am moving slow. And if I drink my milk, I am now moving at a normal speed again. So yeah, it can be pretty darn useful. Keep in mind, it hurts. But if you make it a gas brew, the damage starts at levels 3 and 4, so you'll probably have to invest glowstone and blaze rod in order to get it to a decent level. Then you toss out a gas brew, and you're going to have critters that are slowed in a gas cloud taking damage. So, and it's constantly renewing as well. Really, really good stuff. All right, next we have Knockback. That's right. This one is pretty bland, actually. Let me find somebody to shoot this at. So you could use this in a gas brew, but it's more fun to just use it like that. Now, that was a high level. This is low level. You see, it kind of just gives a knockback effect in a little area. Now, if I use the big one, pew, it kind of shoots them, and they're probably going to take some fall damage or something. So you could have some fun with this. It's very similar to Air Hike. Not a lot of functionality to it, but it can be fun. If you want to keep the people away from an area, a gas brew would be very useful for that, because then anytime that they get close, it like flings them back about 10 or 20 blocks, depending on how strong it is. More power gives you more knockback. The area of effect just gives you a splash area. All right. Undeadbane. This one here is as it states. It will cause damage to other creatures as well, but it will do a lot of damage to undead. It's especially good as a gas brew. Now I have a vampire volunteer over here that we are going to test this on. Let's see, I've got my harm potion as well so I can heal him back up. There we go. Hello, how are you? Can I hit you with it? This is a very low level one. And it did 5 hearts of damage with 1 hit. And that's just a splash potion, not a gas brew. Now, let's heal you back up. And what I found is that a level 2 is enough to take away more than 10 hearts. So, there's a level 4 right now. That guy didn't like it, but he's a vampire. He's not going to die from that. It's just going to do a lot of damage to undead. It's really, really good against undead, let me tell you. So, if I use the gas brew, well then, he's just going to constantly take a lot of damage. Now, this also does affect other critters, though. So, hello, sheepy. How you doing? And you can see it does hurt them. It will do a lot less damage, though. Yeah, he's still going here. Sorry. Let me just... There you go. Get you all back up to normal again. So it can be useful if you've got some undead that you need to deal with. That would probably help you out quite a bit. All right, here we have one of the least useful brews you could possibly make. Insectbane. This one here affects spiders. It's called Insectbane, but it only affects spiders. Yeah, so let's grab a couple spiders here. I even have a gas brew, I think. Let's just grab one of those. Yeah, and yeah. Oh, actually, I'm going to grab this as well. All right, so what I'm going to do is toss down a couple of spiders, right? No big deal. They've got 8 legs, so they should be, arachnids, but All right, so level 1 spell. Does some damage. Some damage, depending on how close you are to them when you hit them. Hey, get back here. Get down. All right, so the other thing is, the higher the level, the stronger the potion. Now, I have a gas brew of Insectbane, that's level 4, but I'm going to use the level 2, which this is a splash brew. Instant death. That is all you need to do, is a level 2 in order to kill any of the normal Minecraft spiders. It is just a level 2 spell. Now, obviously, if you run into other kinds of spiders that are brought in from other mobs, it may or may not work. It depends if they're classified as an insect or whatever, according to this mod. But hey, it might be worth a try. If you especially hate spiders, this is what you would probably want to use. All right, here we go here. Grow and, well, any sapling. Grow oak tree, spruce, birch, jungle sapling, acacia, dark oak. Then we've got rowan, alder, and hawthorn. That's right, I actually remembered them all that time. But the higher the power, the better chance for a bigger tree. It's not really worth too much investment in that, though, in my personal opinion. And area of effect splash area has absolutely no bearing on it whatsoever. But what I'm going to do here is, let's see, I've got a couple oak. I'm going to grab a bunch of multiple trees and show these to you each in turn. All right, so we have oak, low level, oak, high level. And you can see, well, what the heck happened there? High level, you just have a higher chance of making something bigger. Doesn't mean that you're going to make something bigger. Now, splash brew of a birch tree, low level, high level, but you can see it was underneath other trees, so it probably didn't want to grow a big one. Well, there you go. That's probably about as big as you're going to get for a birch tree. Then we've got spruce, and spruce actually has a pretty impressive one for the big one. Boom. And that one's actually rather small. Let's toss another one up here. Yeah, you can see that they can get quite impressive. They're almost like a dwarf redwood tree, but they're really cool. I like those ones quite a bit. All right, we've got jungle saplings. We've got jungle saplings, which can also get quite big. Then we have rowan trees, which, whoops, that was a little close there. Rowans and rowans. And you can see that they sometimes will get big, they sometimes won't. Hawthorns, and they sometimes will be bigger, sometimes they won't. I mean, it's basically the same thing over and over again. Each of the different trees have each of the same different effects. Now, I did mix and match a couple of them. Like, I mixed a spruce, jungle, hawthorn, and oak tree at a maximum level. It was very costly, but it can make a very interesting tree. There you go. It's a giant mixture of, like, oak, jungle, spruce, and I think there's probably a hawthorn in there somewhere. I couldn't tell you. Maybe I need to grow another one here. Let's just do just that. There we go. That one came up more like an oak tree did, but yeah, it's really interesting. You can make these weird mixtures with this, but it tends to get a bit expensive. Yeah, there's a bit of hawthorn in there as well. Yeah, I don't know if I really like it mixing them up so much like that, but I especially like it when you get this weird tall stem of a tree. All right, time for more of Vallen's Brew of Clearing 3. So where this brew really shines is when you just put minimal effort into it, and you can make a new tree out of it if you really wanted to. It's kind of, if you don't have bone meal, you can therefore use the recipe to make one of these brews and just, throw it on the ground. You've got a tree instantly. You don't have to worry about it. Next we have Remove Buffs, which takes Reek of Misfortune, which is by no means that difficult to make, and it is more for a PvP thing. Here, let me grab a couple of these, and I'll grab the gas brew. So more power and equal to or less than any other buff level is removed. So if I have a brew, a power level 3 brew, actually it'd probably be easier if I showed you here. Let me grab, I think in here I have, yes, Splash Brew of Regeneration 4. So let me throw this on this cow over here, right? Cow now has particle effects. It is now with Regeneration 4. So if I use this Splash Brew of level 1 on him, nothing happens. But if I use my level 4, it will end his buff, therefore removing any positive effects that they may have going on. So this can be really, really handy in a PvP fashion, or if you have some mobs or creatures or something that are taking advantage of certain regenerative abilities, or, buffs, if you will. Now, it works really good as a gas brew. So therefore you can throw it on an entity like this or a player area and constantly be removing their buffs. So if they are trying to, drink more potions or splash more on the ground, it will negate it while they're in there. So it can be useful, but I think it's got its place. And opposite of that, we have remove debuffs. This one here is a little bit more interesting. Let me grab some of these here. All right, so this one here. It uses the what do you call it, purified milk, which isn't that difficult to make. It's just some milk and odor of purity in some clay jars, or you can even use a cake and get those too. But it's not that bad. But what it does is the same thing, where equal to or less than, it will debuff so if you have something like slowness on you, or in this case poison. There we go. I now have Poison 4 on me. So if I toss out this level 1 version, nothing happens. I still have it. If I toss out my level 4 version, it disappears instantly upon hitting me. So therefore, it will negate equal or less than leveled negative status effects in most situations. Not all. There's only so much software programming that they can do on this. But now, level 3 or higher will remove disease, which is a negative ailment that you could possibly get from this mod. And if you cast it as a ritual, it will remove any incurable negative effects. Remember, this is negative effects. This is not things like werewolfism or vampirism. It will not work in that manner. I did test that out just to make sure, but it works to cure negative effects. So there you go. And of course we have Endless Water, which I have covered many times before. Just uses a block of snow. And the difference in this one is level 1, 2, 3, and 4. Level 1 will get you 5 uses. Level 2 will get you 20. Level 3 will get you 50. Level 4 will get you 100. Now, the way that I found it most useful is if you really want to, make a whole bunch of really cheap level 1s. I mean, it's Mandrake, or not Mandrake, Netherwart plus Snowblock. And yeah, there you go. That's it. Mandrake plus Snowblock equals 5 free water uses. And you're probably thinking, well, what good is this? It doesn't matter if I have this one or not. Let me grab this one too. I'm going to show you a couple things you can do with it. First and foremost, if you have 2 different endless brews of water, they are not endless, but you can put them together and craft a little bit higher of one. So you've got 50, you've got 5, and now I've got 58. That's right, it doesn't quite add properly. It adds a little bit better. So you are better off combining these together for a cheaper method. That's why I was recommending you use the early level 1 version. Now, one way of using it is by putting it in a dispenser next to a cauldron. And when this cauldron is empty, hello, allow me to grab something here so that I can empty the cauldron out. And I will toss in an ingredient and then negate it. There we go. And then I'll toss this in, and you can see it's empty. Then you just click a button on the side, instantly replenished, and it uses up one of the uses on that. So that's one way of doing it. Very vanilla, but it's a very easy way of doing it. Obviously, there are many other ways of refilling your cauldron. Another way is you can use it to place water blocks. You know how sometimes you want to place down a bunch of water blocks and you have to get 1 bucket, 2 bucket, 3 bucket, 4, etc. Well, in this case, you can just kind of click and fill areas very quick and easy with this method. So you'll probably be pretty happy when you realize that, hey, you know what? I don't have to carry around a whole lot of buckets anymore. I just have my brew of endless water. You should also note that it cannot be combined with other brews. Okay, this last potion is, well, it's very trolly. You're going to get some people really upset with you on this one, potentially, depending on how you choose it. I'm giving you 2 options on this one. This is Vallen's Brew of Angst, both of which are really going to piss some people off. And this is all really PvP. This is not going to work that good in the regular, like fighting mobs in most cases, because it uses poison, because it uses cold, which is both very slow damaging things, because it also uses something that might destroy armor or hold the target still. So it's really good. Now, to start with, you're going to do a mandrake root. You're going to do one of these here, the netherwort. Then you're going to do your Tear of the Goddess. Then glowstone, blaze rod, redstone, obsidian, spider eye, and that will get you your poison effect. Then you repeat those, and you do an icy needle, which will get you your freeze effect. Then you have to pick one of these 2 paths. You can't do both. They don't work well together in the same brew, and that is either webs or erosion. And if you go with either one, just add in the power upgrade. You don't need to add in the lengthening upgrade, and then choose if you want webs or erosion in that potion. Then add in your wood ash, coca beans, belladonna, lapis lazuli, and wool of bat. Bottle it, and you'll get one of these 2 brews. You get the gas brew of poison, cold, and webs, or the gas brew of poison, cold, and erosion. So allow me to demonstrate how this works. Poison, cold, and webs. This one here is probably my preferred because it's not going to damage somebody's property. And now you toss it on the ground. It's going to cause a gas area effect, and oh, that didn't really work out so well because I didn't even move in it. Now you can see that if somebody enters the area, they're going to get webbed. You see, it's not quite as effective on mobs and such. Plus, they're going to get poisoned for a minute, chilled for 4.5 minutes, which is going to give them a damaging poison effect. So they're going to have double poison effects, but chilling will kill. It will not just bring you down to a half a heart. So they're really going to be hurting, and they're going to be stuck in these dense webs, and once they get out, they're probably going to hit this cloud. So it's really, really, really hurtful. Very good one for taking care of people, especially if you can get those gas clouds to hit your target. Now, the other one, of course, is going to be Erosion. It's going to work in the same way. It's going to do a lot of damage, put both of those status effects on them, but it's also going to wreck most armors that they have within a matter of seconds, even less than that potentially. I mean, like maybe 2 seconds it'll destroy any armor that it's really going to destroy. Otherwise, if their armor's untouched, well, then you know it doesn't work on that armor. But there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know that it took me quite a bit of doing to get into this, but hey, you know, that's just how it goes, because there's a lot of level 2 spells. I look forward to the level 3 spells coming up soon here. So yeah, don't forget to leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the mischief with others. And until next time, folks, I'll see ya.